Okay, just to bring you up to speed on what the idiots are doing around the country, this is the New York Daily News, nydailynews.com, and it says that hundreds of pro-immigration activists marched to support New York City as a sanctuary city while ICE detains 5 on SI. Okay, NYC is New York City, ICE is Immigration Control Enforcement. I think that's what this stands for, and SI is Staten Island. Okay, enough acronyms already. So what is going on is we have a bunch of loons gathering in Stanton, almost said Satan Island. That would be nice. Staten Island, and they're protesting because, according to the headlines, they're pro-immigration. No, they're not. I'm pro-immigration. I'm all for immigration. I'm just opposed to importing terrorists and people who support terrorists and endorse terrorists and are part of the world's largest, oldest, and deadliest hate group, aka Islam, from coming into the country. But I'm all for immigration as long as it's the right kind of immigration, just like every other country. So don't call these people pro-immigration. Did I sniff? Sorry, didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's switch over to the other screen here so you can see what we're reading. I'm not going to look at much of this article, but just so you have some idea of what's going on here. And when I first read this article, I thought to myself, before I read this, I'm going to see how far can I get before they call me a white supremacist or a Ku Klux Klanster just because I don't want terrorists coming into the country. Well, let's play the game. How far can we go before they call us a racist? Well, let us begin, shall we? First of all, let me scroll up here. This is attributed to John, I think it's an S maybe, Ellen Moynihan, and Dennis Slattery would be my guess. Okay, so how far are we going to get before they call us white supremacists? Immigration advocates took to the streets Saturday to express their support for New York's status as a sanctuary city as 5 people were detained by federal agents on Staten Island. Hundreds gathered at Washington Square Park before marching to the 6th Precinct Station House, chanting a flurry of slogans in unison, including no ban, no registry, end white supremacy. Okay, there he goes in the second sentence. No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. Why do, we talked about this in an earlier video. What is it about these left-wing lunatics that they chant? Chant, 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 chant. The reason is because they're brain dead. This is what cults do, religious cults do. Hare Krishnas, what are they doing? They're dancing and chanting. Okay, these people aren't dancing, they're kind of marching. Let's take a look at them. Scroll up here, and, well, you really can't get a good look at them. Here's, I think that's supposed to be Donald Trump. They've got an eagle in a cage. Here's a guy holding a sign. I think that's supposed to look like a swastika. Somebody's getting creative. Look at this poor woman, bless her heart. I'm sure she doesn't look like that all the time. I don't think her mouth is stuck in that position. But that's where it was when the camera clicked, so that's the way you're stuck forever. Immortalized in the New York Daily News with your mouth stuck open. So she's probably chanting one of these chants. I don't know. I had no idea who she is. I'm sure she's a very nice person. Okay, so they're chanting, no ban, no registry, end white supremacy, no Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. Why do they insist on calling us fascists? Now, we talked about why they chant. It's because they're brain dead. Why do they call us Nazis and fascists and Klansters and all those other derogatory hate terms, pejoratives? Well, the reason is this, and we've talked about this many times in other videos, and I'm going to talk about it again and again and again and again because we have lots of new people who are coming in watching our videos who haven't heard this in the past, and it never hurts to reinforce thoughts. But here's what they're doing. What they are doing is they are mentally dressing us in Klan robes. They are mentally dressing us in Nazi uniforms. Why are they doing that? So they can hate us. So when they look at us, they don't see real people. They see figments of their imagination. It's kind of like on Halloween when people dress up Well, it's kind of like this guy. He's dressed up like Donald Trump, even though I don't think Donald Trump really looks like that. But, okay, so he's dressed up like Donald Trump. And so, I hate the guy. He's dressed up like Donald Trump. But psychologically, mentally, they dress us up. They see us in Nazi uniforms. So it's okay to hate us. That's what they're doing. They're giving themselves psychological license to hate people. Us, because we have common sense, because we're reasonable, because we're not delusional, because we don't stomp around in the middle of the street and chant like a bunch of goofballs. I wonder if these people ever go chanting by themselves. Have you ever been walking down the street and just out of nowhere you see this one single person all by themselves yelling, "No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA," all by themselves? Never see that, do you? It's pure pressure. Okay, it says the rally follows a week in which hundreds of undocumented migrants, immigrants, okay, those are illegal aliens, I think what they mean, were rounded up in raids across the country. Many advocates believe the actions are part of President Trump's promised tough stance on immigration and border issues. Yeah, I think it probably is. Good point. Okay. With that said, let's go over to Fox News, and it says several GOP states moved to block their own funding to sanctuary cities. So we know that the federal government is, Donald Trump has said, look, if you're going to harbor criminals, don't expect money from the federal government, or we're not going to totally fund you as much as we have been in the past. I don't know what the criteria is for that, but I do know that so-called sanctuary cities risk losing millions of dollars because they want to give sanctuary to criminals. Some of these people are murderers, some of them are rapists, some of them are thieves, some of them are what else is out there? Assaulters? What do you call those people? But you know what I mean. They're violent criminals. And these cities are giving them sanctuary based upon the fact that they're illegal aliens. Now, if I were a murderer or did any of those other things, they wouldn't give me sanctuary because I'm a citizen. So, in effect, they're giving them special treatment. So when the federal government law enforcement comes in to arrest these people, they have instructed their law enforcement, the city or county, whatever form of government it is, they instruct them do not cooperate with the federal police. To which Donald Trump says, okay, if that's the way you want it, don't cooperate, but don't expect any federal funding. And a lot of them are changing their minds. But the point of this is that many states are following suit and doing the same thing. Several GOP states moved to block their own funding to sanctuary cities, and that, my friends, happens to be a very popular move. We're going to watch maybe a minute of this video just so you can get a glimpse of what's going on here. But before we do that, let's read this. A number of GOP states have moved to introduce legislation to block their own state funding to so-called sanctuary cities. The moves come in conjunction with President Donald Trump's executive order to block federal funding to cities that refuse to comply with federal immigration authorities. The states include Idaho, Texas, Iowa, Michigan, Ohio, Tennessee, Florida, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. I don't think Indiana has threatened to block funding to sanctuary cities because I don't think Indiana has any sanctuary cities. Maybe they do. But wouldn't it be nice if you had just like one sanctuary city, like on the Mexican border, and so all these people go there to get sanctuary, and then they pull their funding and say, never mind, and they just kick them over the border. Hopefully they toss them over the wall. Okay, let's take a look at this video. And again, it's actually a 5-minute video. We're not going to play the whole thing, but we will put a link to it in the description section below so that you can watch it if you care to, so you can watch the whole thing in context.
Half a dozen states are making moves to deny their own funding to sanctuary cities. Texas being one of them. It just passed a bill that would require police to hold anyone in custody until ICE can verify their immigration status.
So is this the future of fighting illegal immigration? The Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Dan Patrick, joins us now. Lieutenant Governor, thanks very much for joining us this morning. Tell us what you're doing. Again. Oftentimes think of denying of federal funding, not state funding. What is Texas doing as it pertains to sanctuary cities?
Well, our sanctuary city bill that we did pass this week will deny funding to our cities that refuse to follow the Constitution and follow the law. We have one particular sheriff, Sheriff Hernandez in Travis County, who has doubled down multiple times and saying, I'm just going to ignore what the state of Texas says and what the president and the federal government says and what the Constitution says. So we had to take action. Not only will we deny funds, but we have in our bill the opportunity for civil penalties and criminal penalties. After all, just because you may be in law enforcement, if you break the law and refuse to protect our country and put your city at risk, you should be subject to those repercussions.
Okay, that's what I wanted you to hear. What they're doing is they're not just saying we're going to withhold the funding, but if you violate the law, you're going to be prosecuted. And I think it should be, how do you say this? If a person is a law enforcement officer and I guess they take an oath of office, they're sworn to uphold the law, and they're not doing it. So they need to be held, in my humble opinion, doubly accountable for breaking the law because they're law enforcement officers. Okay, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it on social media. Leave your comments in the comments section below. We have some wonderful comments. Actually, we have a lot of funny people who comment in the comment section. I actually enjoy reading the comments. I don't have time to read all of them, but I read lots of them, and I kind of scan through. If I happen to see my name, I'll stop and read. If somebody has a question for me, I'll try to answer it. Somebody yells at me, I delete it. Not always. Sometimes they yell good things or reasonable things, and I'll leave it. But, you know, if it's like profanity or whatever, those type of things we zap, but everything else we leave in there. And we do try to keep our comments section clean. I know a lot of video channels on YouTube, there's just a lot of profanity, and I don't like that. So we try to keep our YouTube channel clean. One more thing I gotta say, if you put a link in the comment section, chances are YouTube is going to interpret that as spam, and you'll go back and say, where'd my comment go? Well, they didn't publish it because somehow they have some kind of an algorithm or something that senses when people leave links in the comments and they just don't publish them. So you might keep that in mind when you're leaving comments. I appreciate your links, but I don't actually see most of them. So don't forget to subscribe, give us a thumbs up, leave comments, and don't forget to share this on social media. 6 o'clock, I forgot to say, 6 o'clock tonight, every night, till I forget. We will have live streaming, and we'll have the chat room open so you can come in and have a nice talk with people who are like-minded, just like you.
How to subscribe. Click subscribe. Click the bell. Check the box. Save.